like one.
Yeah, you could definitely tell because and it must have been like Hooper being a Universal Monster fan. Like he makes use of their IP. This feels like a monster
The extent
movie.
to which they bandy about the Frankenstein monster in this is like, Jesus Christ. Like, you get it while you can, I guess. I think the other really obvious influence, I think there's actually two really obvious influences. I think Todd Browning is one of them.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Freaks and The Psychic are both pretty evident in this. And I also think Something Wicked is a pretty huge influence on this movie. Even the kid who plays her brother is the kid who's in the Something Wicked adaptation.
Shit. No kidding. Did. Okay. Yep. Yeah. This is the second movie that he does, like the second feature film that he does that features a sort of like child in peril thing. Because Kyle Richards is in Eaten Alive, and she spends most of the movie like underneath the psycho hillbilly's house, like running from an alligator. So yeah, he's got a hang up on that.
Because I think this movie feels a lot like a YA novel. Like I was like maybe 3/4 of the way through it, and I was like, this feels like a young adult story. It's not particularly violent. It's not really a slasher. It has a vibe of like, like the kind of like YA horror novels that came out in the 80s and 90s.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And like, were it not for the nudity in this movie, it probably could have ended up with a PG rating.
And the nudity in this movie, again, was a studio thing. It was not in the original script.
It feels inserted for sure. Yeah. But so shall we get into it?
Yeah, I think that I've got a lot more comments, but they'll come along. But I think the setting of this is what makes it unique and really, really interesting.
Yeah. So a thing is, when we get to it, I wrote a whole essay, like a 3,000 word essay on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre as a fairy tale. And when we get around to that, I'll really dive into it because I think that there's really something to that. But in these sort of early Tobe Hooper movies, there is a clear delineation between the sort of real, sane world and this kind of off the path fairy tale world that he's kind of constantly.
Well, there's a family thing to it as well. Like one of my favorite arguments or the sort of framings of Texas Chainsaw is that it's a home invasion movie. Which I think is very accurate. You can't say it's not. Yeah. Like, Leatherface gets left at home alone, and these fucking people show up and like break into the house, basically.
it's like Home Alone, but like fucked up.
But there is a very kind of insider outsider mentality in a lot of his early films, even in shit like Salem's Lot. Like he really leans into that. You see it here as well because it's a central theme here.
Yeah, because in Salem's Lot, like that's the thing. That one's kind of an exception because it's not his material, but it's almost like he finds that sort of germ in it and really leans into it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there is definitely this kind of like real world, perilous kind of fantasy fairy tale world that is in this. It's in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's definitely in Eaten Alive, which is a profoundly strange movie. Did you get around to watching that one?
No, I might watch it tonight.
Yeah. Good God. It is a fucking weird movie. Powerfully weird. So, yeah. But we open with a POV shot as someone makes their way around a bedroom belonging to someone with a serious monster movie fixation, while Amy gets in the shower. He grabs a knife off the wall and a rubber mask, mimicking the opening from Halloween and the shower scene from Psycho simultaneously.
Yeah. You go ahead. I've got some things I want to talk about here.
Okay,
go
ahead. This opening scene was the last thing shot for the entire movie.
And I will tell you why that is.
Now, I don't know why, but I suspect that this was not a part of the original script.
You are correct.
That this was somebody watching dailies or watching a work print and thinking this movie is too slow. We need to hit the ground running. And so let's give them a little something scary. Because Tobe Hooper gives you some kind of highfalutin nonsense about what his intention of this. I think that's him sort of retroactively applying it.
That is 100% what it is. This is a scene that was shoehorned in at the end because the studio did for test audiences. They ran the movie and they all said this movie is too slow. It takes far too long to get to the action, which is, it's true. You don't really get into it until like halfway through the movie. And also, you promised us a slasher. Where are the boobs?
Oh.
To hear the rest of the episode, look us up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts by searching Bring Me the Axe. And subscribe so you never miss an episode.